It is known that Tobirama Senju was KIA during the First Great Shinobi World War. But what happens when a year before his untimely demise, Tobirama was found and nursed back to health by someone he did not expect, after a gruesome battle that could have led to his earlier death? What happens when the person who found him was a beautiful blonde woman from the Yuki clan of Kirigakure, known for having the Kekkei Hyotan, or ice release? What happens if they fell in love, and had a son named Minato, who wanted to follow in his father's footsteps by becoming the fastest shinobi alive by using one of his father's jutsus? What happens if Minato and his son Naruto are both secretly Senjus, who inherited the Hyotan bloodline? What if Naruto decides to use his newfound power and resolve to surpass both his father and grandfather, and become the greatest Hokage in history? Hey everyone, I hope you're well. This is the story about what if Naruto was Tobirama's grandson and had ice release. Before we start, please subscribe to the channel and like the video as well. So without any further ado, let's start the what if. It was a rainy day in Konohagakure, also known as the Hidden Leaf Village. And for some unknown reason it had been raining non-stop for 3 days. Naruto Uzumaki is only 5 years old, and has been an orphan since the day he was born. He has sunny blonde spiky hair, violet purple eyes, and 3 whisker marks on each cheek. He is now sitting all alone in his small single bedroom, at the orphanage he has been staying at, watching outside from his window to see another child being adopted this week, besides him. As a fellow orphan, he should be happy for the child that was being adopted into a happy-looking family. But instead, his young heart is filled with sadness, as the child that is being adopted only came to the orphanage a few years after him. He did not know why, but for some reason, he was always overlooked by every single parent that came. Those who spared him a glance, just gave him a look of fear and hate. He never felt so lonely and so unwanted in his entire life. I just don't understand. What am I doing wrong? Naruto asked himself, with tears threatening to fall from his eyes. Then a gentle knock came from his door, and entered the caretaker of the orphanage. Naruto-kun? Are you alright? The caretaker asked with concern in her voice, as Naruto wiped his tears away. I'm fine, Mother Nono. How are you? He asked politely back with a fake smile to cover up his immense sadness. The caretaker, now identified as Nono Yakushi, is able to see right through his fake smile, and her heart immediately breaks for him. Nono was a former Root Anbu who became a Jonin in the regular forces, and a captain of the medic corps, and eventually the caretaker at the village's orphanage. She is probably the only person in the orphanage that showed genuine kindness to the young Uzumaki. Naruto-kun, you don't have to do that. I have seen too many fake smiles to last me a lifetime. She told him sweetly and gently. You know, you can always tell me anything. You don't always have to be strong, she said with a sad smile. Naruto looked into her kind, caring eyes, and could not hide his sadness any longer. He finally let go of his tears and ran up to her, engulfing her with a tight hug, as she gladly returns it. She knelt down to his size, as he continues to cry on her shoulder. She whispers sweet and reassuring words to his ear, and gently stroking his back. Why doesn't anyone want me, Mother Nono? Why do they always look at me like I'm dangerous? Why am I not good enough? His words were filled with pain and sadness as he says them between his sobs. Nono's heart continues to break for the small boy. As a former shinobi of Konoha, she knows full well why he is being treated so badly. She knew of his burden, but could not tell him, as it is considered forbidden by the third Hokage. She just could not understand the harsh, unjustified treatment of the sweet boy who is crying in her arms, is constantly receiving from other adults. She absolutely adores Naruto and wanted nothing more but the best for him. But she still has to play the ignorant role, not just for the sake of the law, but for his. You are a wonderful boy, Naruto-kun, and you should never think that you aren't good enough. I know you are destined for great things. And I know that you will one day find those who are precious to you. And when you find them, they will fill your heart with love, and that love will only make you stronger than you already are, my sweet little boy. She said this with a motherly tone as she looked straight into his beautiful violet eyes and wiping away his tears. Naruto could feel the motherly love he is receiving from Nono, and could not help but smile at her. His smile was so bright and infectious that she could not help but return the smile. "Thank you, Mother Nono. I hope you know that you are one of my precious people too," Naruto says with another bright smile. Nono was so happy to hear that she is important to Naruto, as she feels the same way for him. As she was about to leave, she finally remembered the main reason why she came to Naruto's room in the first place. She searches in the pocket of her robe, until she finally found what she was looking for. A present. Naruto was now full of joy when Nono handed him the beautifully wrapped present. As he unwraps it, Naruto was completely speechless when he saw what it was. A framed picture of Nono holding him lovingly when he was 3 years old. Naruto felt tears coming out of eyes once more, but these weren't like the last. These were tears of pure joy. He once again engulfs Nono with another big hug. "Thank you, Mother Nono," he whispered happily into her ear. "You're welcome, and happy birthday, Naruto-kun," she whispered sweetly into his ear. All of a sudden, the long rain has finally stopped pouring down. When everyone thought the cloudy days are finally over, and the sun will soon shine the tree-filled village once again, something unexpected happened instead. Back in Konoha, Hokage's office. Hiruzen Sarutobi is a war veteran who participated in not one, not two, but all 3 great shinobi world war. He is known as the Professor for his unrivaled wisdom and knowledge, and the God of Shinobi for his unmatched power and skills. Aside from the well-earned titles, he is a man of peace. He loves his village and the people within. He was the apprentice of the first and second Hokage. While the second, Tobirama Senju, was his true master, he holds the first's, Hashirama Senju's philosophy of the will of fire true to his heart. It is the belief that love is the key to peace, and states that the entire village is like a large family unit and every Konoha shinobi with the will of fire loves, believes, cherishes, and fights to protect the village, as previous generations had done before them. But no matter how strong he is, like everyone else, he is a slave to time. Old age has finally set on him, but he will be damned if he would let that interfere with his duties. While the villagers love and respect him, there are those who now see him as frail and soft. Especially his advisors, particularly one Danzo Shimura. Danzo is a warhawk, who would occasionally undermine Hiruzen's peaceful way of ruling the village. He does not share Hiruzen's or Hashirama's beliefs, instead believing that Konohagakure should be superior to the other hidden villages, and that shinobi should not have emotions, as they are nothing but tools for the greater good. While Hiruzen has half a mind to strip Danzo of his position and power, Danzo still brings results, as his Anba division known as Root, were able to do the dirty assignments that many of his regular leaf shinobi could not stomach for. While Hiruzen had ordered Danzo to disband Root, which in paper he did, but the old Hokage is not so naive to believe that his old friend would simply do as he says, and suspects that the rogue division is still running behind his back. But he needed evidence. Hiruzen is sighing, as he is now completely exhausted from every Kage's greatest enemy, paperwork. Most of the paperwork are requests from the villagers regarding leases for opening up new stores, mission reports, and money loans, etc. But some of the paperwork came from Danzo, requesting to draft certain children into his Anba division. Particularly clan children. But the one he is most interested in is the latest Jinchuriki of the Nine-Tailed Fox, Naruto Uzumaki. Hiruzen immediately rejects the request and made a mental note to check on Naruto soon, and warn the clan heads of his advisor's intentions. If Danzo attempts to forcefully draft any children, it will give him enough reason to finally imprison or execute his old friend. Thinking of Naruto made him feel sad and regretful, as he has not seen the kind little boy all year due to his busy schedule. Hiruzen acknowledged it as a pitiful excuse, as he sees the boy as a precious grandson figure and could have at least visit him now and then. But after finally remembering that today is Naruto's birthday, it made the old Hokage even more sadder and disappointed in himself. As he looked outside the window and noticing the long rain has finally stopped, He gives a questioning look for the sudden change of weather, until it happened. His eyes were widened, when the rain has now been replaced by snow. Not stormy snow, but the calming feeling when the first snow fell. He was in disbelief as it is only the middle of autumn. But he then removes all thoughts of the suspicious weather. Maybe winter just came early this year. Hiruzen tried to rationalize. But then he remembered something similar happened a long time ago. When Lord Hashirama passed away, Master Tobirama was depressed for days, until he finally pulled himself together, for the sake of the village needing its new Hokage. But between those times, I remembered it rained for days, just like earlier this week. He remembered, and another important thought came to mind. Also, when Master Tobirama was declared missing for several months during the First Great Shinobi World War, snow started to fall in the middle of summer during the time he was missing, and the days after his death. He was last seen near the borders of the Land of Water, but he was never found, until he miraculously returns all by himself, safely and unharmed. Hiruzen then finally remembers a certain personal information that is never reported in the books, due to him being the only one knowing said info, and promised Tobirama that he would never tell anyone. Master Tobirama told me that he was gravely injured during his last battle against the Gold and Silver Brothers. He honestly thought that he was going to die that day, until he was founded by someone unexpected. Hiruzen tried to recall every bit of detail that Tobirama had explained to him. Flashback, the middle of the First Great Shinobi World War. Tobirama was awoken on a soft bed with his body covered in bandages. He looked around to see the house he is currently in. It was a small civilian hut, he assumed. He is then greeted by a beautiful young woman, who looks at him with worry on her face. Tobirama was obviously on guard, as he fears that he has been captured by enemy ninja. But the first words that came out of the woman's mouth was something he did not expect. "I am such an idiot," the woman said with a disappointed sigh. Tobirama was caught off guard by her sudden declaration of herself, and asked her what she meant. "Well, let's see, I was walking back home, minding my own business, and suddenly I walked into the sight of a post-battleground. I can't tell if my luck is just getting worse, or God is just playing another bad joke on me. I told myself 100 times that I would not get involved with shinobi matters. I never really understood why this war is happening in the first place anyway. I was tempted to just ignore everything and walk away, but when I saw you still breathing, and beaten half to hell, I guess I couldn't just let you die, when I could help." The strange woman explained her honest reason, but Tobirama was still on guard with her, as he has every right to be so. This girl could be playing him for a fool as far as he is concerned. "Who are you?" he asked with squinted eyes, as he is determined to know who the mysterious girl is. Isn't it rude to ask a lady her name before the gentleman could give his? "I wonder if this is how you treat all your lady friends, handsome?" she asked, crossing her arms under her busted chest, with a sarcastic tone and a smirk on her face. Tobirama pouted a little to be outwitted so easily, and answers her. "My name is Tobirama Senju, the second Hokage of Konoha, Konoha's water dragon and grand commander of the Leaf Shinobi Battalion," he said with pride and a victorious smirk. "Wow, must be difficult for you to write down that long-ass name, huh?" she said before giggling when she saw Tobirama turning his head away to hide his embarrassed blush for being outwitted once more by the strange girl. Nice to meet you, Tobirama-kun. My name is Akira Yuki. Owner of this little hut, self-proclaimed ice princess and enemy of all fishes," she said, mimicking his prideful boast of his titles with a bright smile. This causes Tobirama to blush even more, especially to the kun she added to his name. Akira had long sunny blonde hair that reached down her waist, bright ocean blue eyes, fair skin and a fairly athletic yet feminine body that shows most of her amazing curves. Probably from all the manual labor she had to do alone around her house. "Where am I exactly, Akira-chan, and don't say in your hut or on this bed," he said quickly to prevent her from making any more smartass remarks. She smiles as she realizes that her handsome patient already gets her, and blushes a bit for the chan he added to her name. She answers him honestly, as she could sense the urgency and worry in his voice. My hut is near the borders of the land of water. It took me at least 6 days to bring you here from where I found you. She answered with a serious tone. Tobirama then tries to get himself up from his bed, but he was still suffering from his injuries. Then his efforts was stopped by Akira. Stop! Your wounds are still fresh and your body needs time to heal. She says with a concerned voice. I can't stay here, my shinobi, they need me, and I am their commander. The longer I stay, the more they are in danger. His tone was filled with worry, as he continues to try to get himself up. Tobirama-kun, if you continue like this you won't make it to them in one piece. Do you want to die before you can even help them? She asked, as she looked straight into his vermilion eyes. No, but... Tobirama continues to try to justify his efforts, but Akira interrupted him. Do you trust your shinobi? She asked simply. Yes, was all he could say. Do you trust them with the future of your village? She asked. Yes, was all he could say again. Then trust that they will either find you, or carry on the war without you, at least for a while. There are times you have to realize, Tobirama-kun, that you cannot do everything all by yourself, and try to put your trust in others. Like a certain blonde for example, she said with gentle smile as she looked into his eyes again. Tobirama was moved by her words, as they hold nothing but truth and wisdom. He could not help but feel his worries were slowly washing away as he looked at her gentle smile and bright ocean blue eyes. He conceded and laid back down on his bed. How long do you think I will be able to travel again? He asked with hope in his words. I'm no medical ninja or a doctor, but I can confidently say that you need at least 5 to 6 months minimum, to have around 80% of your strength back. You were practically near death's door when I found you. She said with a confident and assuring tone. Tobirama wanted to argue that it would take too long, but he had to admit that what she said earlier was true. He has to start relying on others, as his last battle showed him that he wasn't invincible and couldn't protect everyone forever. He has full confidence with his second-in-command and apprentice, Hiruzen Sarutobi, to temporarily take his place. He wanted Hiruzen to be the next Hokage after all, so maybe he will use this as an opportunity to test Hiruzen's leadership skills. As weeks turn to months, Tobirama is feeling slightly better, as he is able to walk properly, and train his body to regain his strength back. But he is still unable to travel long distance yet. Most of his time, he wanted to get to know the mysterious Akira Yuki better. She eventually told him about her clan and Kekkei Genkai known as the Hayatan, or Ice Style. A very rare nature transformation that combines both water and wind affinity. She even demonstrated one of her jutsus, Ice Style, Winter Wonder Jutsu, by making snow fall. Tobirama was impressed, as Ice Style is known to be the second strongest nature transformation Kekkei Genkai. Wood Style being the first, while Lava Style being third. Akira also told him that she and her parents left the clan and Kirigakure, the hidden mist village, years ago to get away from all the wars and endless violence against those with bloodlines. Her parents eventually passed away when she was a teenager, and they are now buried just outside her hut. This obviously broke the blonde girl's heart, but her cheerful and positive attitude never wavered, and it was very infectious to the rugged white-haired Senju. Akira reminded Tobirama so much of his late brother Hashirama. Except she is more of a smartass than Hashirama's goofy attitude. But the one thing they have the most in common was their desire for peace and strong sense of love. Tobirama always felt so calm and warm every time he was with her. And he just couldn't stop staring into her ocean blue eyes that he found so captivating. As if he would stare into them forever if he could. Maybe it is because blue is his favorite color. Or maybe it was something else. Even Akira could not deny to herself that she found Tobirama very attractive. But she thinks his attitude is far too serious, a little challenging, and very blunt. Which leads the pair to have constant innocent debates regarding political and trivial matters. She finds their debates to be fun and enjoyable, and whenever she was able to make him laugh or smile, her heart literally skips a beat every time she sees it. And the same goes for Tobirama when it came to her. Eventually they could not deny their attraction for each other any longer, and finally gave in to their feelings of strong desire. Years of lost, hardship and loneliness that they both had to endure, was instantly washed away with one beautiful fateful night they shared, filled with passion and love. A love that was built from a short period of time and grew into something that would last forever. It is now the 8th month of Tobirama's recovery and it is time for him to finally return to the war. He was fully recovered on the 6th month, but decided to stay for an extra 2 months just to be with Akira a little longer. But eventually he had to refulfill his duties as the Hokage. "Please, don't go, Tobirama-kun. It feels like our time together was too short, and where you'll be going, you might." She begged him to stay with her, and was unable to finish her last sentence, as the thought terrifies her. "I have to go, Akira-chan. I have been gone for far too long. And while I trust Hiruzen, I cannot let him carry this heavy burden all by himself, not while I still live," he said with sadness, with his voice. "But I can't lose you, we can't lose you," she finished saying, while rubbing her 1-month pregnant belly. Tobirama was truly conflicted. He wanted nothing more but to be a father, and marry the beautiful woman standing before him. But he is also the Hokage, and as the Hokage he has many other people relying on him as well. "You won't lose me. I am coming home to you and we will raise this child together. I will love you and this child for the rest of my life. We will always be together. I promise," he said as he kissed her passionately, like it was the last one they will ever have. As they finished their heated kiss, his forehead met hers, as he looked straight into her sad ocean blue eyes. "Go to Konoha, and wait for me there. And if I can't be there, know that I love you and little Minato so much. I love you so damn much, Akira-chan. And I hope you could forgive me," he says with tears threatening to fall from his eyes, as if he knows he couldn't keep his promise to her. Tears started to fall down from Akira's eyes, as she could clearly see the pain and conflict within the man before her, the man she loves. She would be completely devastated if Tobirama was killed. But she understands that his people needed him too. She placed her soft hand on his cheek and gave him a reassuring smile so that he would not be conflicted any longer. "You are Tobirama Senju, the 2nd Hokage of Konohagakure, Konoha's water dragon and the Grand Commander of the Leaf Shinobi Battalion." She uses the same mock boasting tone he gave her when they first met, which put a smile on his face and made him laugh softly. "I will always love you, Tobirama-kun, and of course I'll forgive you, dummy. But if you die a stupid death, I swear I will haunt your grave." This made them both laugh a little, before they look into each other's eyes lovingly again. They shared one last sweet kiss and said their final goodbyes before Tobirama left in a hurry, fearing that if he didn't go now, he will never leave, and God knows he wanted to stay. Little that they know, that was the last time they saw each other. Akira arrived in Konohagakure after a month of travel. She was able to avoid all the battle sites and arrived safely thanks to Tobirama's directions. Since it was still wartime, she had to go through several procedures to verify that she is not an enemy spy or a threat. Once she was cleared, they asked for her name. Tobirama actually proposed to her during their 7th month together, which of course she accepted. But she still could not use the Senju name yet. She was tempted to use her Yuki clan name, but fear it could cause suspicion since her clan is from Kirigakure, which she would like to avoid any sort of unneeded attention. She then remembers a bedtime story of a certain hero that her father once told her. A hero that could walk on the raging waves, Nami, of the ocean, and fly straight through the unforgiving wind, Kaze, in the sky, using nothing but his will and body. A hero that was strong and brave. The hero always reminded her so much of Tobirama the more she thinks about it. She then remembers the hero's name and decided to adopt it. "My name is Akira, Namikaze," she told the guard with a smile on her face, accepting her new identity. After 4.5 months in Konoha, Akira is now living in a small house that she was able to afford and make a decent home out of it. Akira is still hopeful that Tobirama would still come home to her. But hope can be a very dangerous thing to a person, as hers was completely shattered when she heard the news that her one true love Tobirama Senju was killed in action. For weeks, she could not stop the tears from escaping her eyes. As her feelings darkened, snow started to fall and would not stop falling. She missed her Tobirama-kun every day. She was proud that Tobirama died a hero's death, risking his life so that his team could escape certain death from many enemies. A part of her wanted to be angry at him for willingly giving up his life so easily and leaving her and their unborn son all alone. But then she remembers what kind of man Tobirama was. Behind the cold, calculative and tough facade was a kind and gentle man who cares more for others than himself. She will continue to love Tobirama till the end of her days, and honor his memory by raising their child, little Minato Namikaze, to be the best person he can be. If he shares his father's dream of being a ninja and eventually Hokage, then she will support him nonetheless. She will make sure that he will be strong enough to protect all those he will care about, just like his father. Akira taught Minato everything he needed to know about his heritage. He is proud that his father was a good man and a great shinobi. He even considered using his father's name, but decided otherwise, as he wanted to make a name for himself. So he decided to keep using his Namikaze surname. Minato is practically a smaller male version of Akira. He has blonde hair like hers, but was spiky just like his father's. He has blue eyes, but was a little darker compared to hers. But the one detail that she loves most about her adorable blonde son is his strong heart. He is a kind and courageous boy. Fierce yet gentle. Intelligent yet humble. Minato eventually discovered that he has his mother's Hayatan Kekkei Genkai, but somehow he lacks control over them. He could only use low-level Hayatan jutsus that he learned from his mother, but none of the highly advanced ones. It turns out that his wind affinity is too weak, thus not balancing out his very strong water affinity that he had inherited from his father. But regardless, he still wanted to honor his father in some way. It took him years, but he eventually learned the flying Raijin jutsu but was able to use and mastered it in a way that his late father could never dreamed of when he created that jutsu. Years later, Akira eventually passed away from old age. She was glad that she was able to meet her son's wonderful new girlfriend, Kushina Uzumaki, before she passed on. Kushina is a beautiful red-haired girl, and a strong talented kunoichi, especially with kenjutsu and the art of sealing jutsus. When she heard the story of how Minato saved her from being kidnapped by Kumigakure, the hidden cloud village, the same village that took her beloved Tobirama away from her, Akira couldn't help but be amazed of how romantic and inspiring their fateful encounter was. She had no doubt that Kushina will make her son very happy. The last thought that came to her old fragile mind, before the once bright light leaves her fading blue eyes forever, were all the fond memories of the man that had given her so much love and a wonderful son. "I'll see you soon, Tobirama-kun," was the last and final words of Akira Namikaze. End of flashback. Back in Konoha, Hokage's office. Hiruzen finally realized what was happening, and could only come up with one theory. "I don't know much about this Akira Yuki except that she had blonde hair. I tried to look for her when the war ended, but there was no record of any Akira Yuki in the village. But if Master Tobirama asked her to come to Konoha, and she was pregnant, that could only mean." His eyes widen as he realized that Akira had indeed arrived to the village, and the rain and snow is caused by either the child or grandchild of Tobirama Senju. But if it rains or snow whenever Master Tobirama and Akira are sad, there is only one person I know who would be sad on this particular day, he says, but instantly felt guilty when he realized it was partly his fault as well. Hiruzen then took out his glass ball to perform his telescope jutsu. He focuses it on one particular blonde boy, and saw that he was crying on a young woman's shoulder. This starts to worry Hiruzen. If Naruto-kun truly is the grandson of Master Tobirama, which means that Hiruzen's train of thought trailed off to an obvious yet not so obvious truth. He practically went research mode as she searches for the fourth Hokage's records. He searches and searches until he finally found it. Minato's father is unknown, but his mother's name put all the pieces together. Akira Namikaze, the old man says to himself. Hiruzen wanted to beat himself up so badly for not realizing this sooner. I mean, Minato practically made one of Master Tobirama's, aka his father's jutsu, as one of his own signature, the Flying Raijin Jutsu. Now Hiruzen's self-loathing grew even more, as he realized he had failed not only his successor, but his predecessor as well. Naruto-kun is not just a Jinchuriki of the Nine Tails anymore, he is the legacy of two great Hokages and the future of the Senju clan. This changes everything. Especially if he has the Hayatan Kekkei Genkai. I wasn't there for you when you needed me, my boy. But I will not make the same mistake again. Hiruzen vowed to be there for Naruto more often and train him to be stronger. He will not fail the boy who he sees as a precious grandson. I promise you, Minato, Kushina, Master Tobirama, Lady Akira, that Naruto-kun will make you all proud. Konoha's orphanage. Naruto is now sitting at his usual lone table in the orphanage's small cafeteria room, with 3 buttered toast on his plate, and a glass of milk next to it. Usually, he would not enjoy this time in the morning, as the cook would often serve him burned toast and expired milk. Today was different, however, as the cook was caught red-handed by Mother Nono. He tried to defend his actions by saying, "The demon doesn't deserve good food, or any food whatsoever," the cook said with an evil proud smirk. This level of ignorance and cruelty towards an innocent child was too much for the good mother's heart, and the cook was met with a brutal beat-down from the former root ninja, and an immediate termination of his services, and a trip to the hospital with no coverage. Mother Nono had grown very much attached to little Naruto, and would be damned if she allows anyone within her own orphanage to treat him that way. She manages to convince some of her fellow caretakers to give Naruto a chance, which they begrudgingly did. But what they did not expect was to actually like the blonde boy. After a few, they were able to see Naruto as Naruto, and not some demon or monster. They find his kind and upbeat personality to be very charming and welcoming. The fact that Mother Nono taught him to always be respectful of others also helps his image. One of them even gave him a small book as a late birthday gift that he is now currently reading while having his breakfast. The book is titled The Tales of the Utterly Gutsy Ninja, written by a man named Jiraiya. Naruto absolutely loved the book, and was inspired to be a strong ninja just like the hero in the story. He too wanted to break the cycle of hatred and bring peace to ninja world. Naruto would often share his dream openly of becoming Hokage, just like Lord Third someday. His Gigi, grandpa, is one of his precious people, and one of the very few he looks up to and inspires to be like, one day. Mother Nono would often encourage him to follow his dream, but advise him to always learn and work hard, as his path in life will not be an easy one. Naruto understands and always appreciates her concern. He promises to do what she says, and keep her words true to him. Suddenly, one of the caretakers came by the cafeteria and approached him. "Naruto, you have a visitor," the caretaker informs him. "Really? Visitor for me?" This surprises the young boy, as he rarely or probably never had anyone outside the orphanage to come and visit him before. As he followed the caretaker that was leading him to his mysterious visitor, the person he saw immediately put a large smile on his face. "Hello, Naruto-kun. How are you, my boy?" the old Hokage said, as he greeted him with a warm smile. Hiruzen was slightly worried that Naruto would be angry with him for never visiting him all year, which he will completely understand, and was prepared to make amends for. After a moment of brief silence of his nonchalant greeting, Naruto's response was not at all what the old Hokage expected. "Jijai. You're here. I miss you so much." Naruto ran up to the old man and wrapped him in a big hug. Hiruzen is so overwhelmed with relief and joy that the little blonde boy hugging him did not hold any resentment or anger towards him. Instead, he was just happy to see his grandfather figure again. Hiruzen returned the hug and gently patted the little boy on his blonde head. "I miss you too, my boy. And I am so sorry." Hiruzen could not help but apologize. "For what?" was all Naruto could ask. "I'm sorry I could not visit you as much as I could this year. Especially yesterday on your birthday. I understand if you are disappointed in me. Hiruzen finished as he looked down on the ground in shame. There's no need to apologize, Gigi, you are the Hokage after all, even I understand that you have an entire village to look after and not just me. Sure, I was pretty sad yesterday, but I did not blame anything on you. You're my Gigi, and I'm just happy that you are here. Naruto responded with a bright smile that he understands perfectly. Everyone who was looking at the two could not help but be impressed with the level of maturity and understanding that the 5-year-old was giving to the leader of their village. Hiruzen was even more impressed and could not help but be grateful that Naruto had inherited Minato's compassion and Kushina's sincerity, and especially not her temper. That last thought almost gave chills to the old Hokage, as he remembers how angry and violent the fiery redhead can be. Thank you, Naruto-kun, for your kind understanding. But still, let me make it up to you. How about I take you out for a little treat? Do you like ramen? The old man innocently asked, but then he felt some sort of disturbance in the future, as if he might regret after asking that question. Sure, but what's ramen? Konoha Street, Ichiraku's ramen. As Hiruzen and Naruto walks into the small dining establishment, they are then greeted by the owner and his daughter. Lord Third. It is an honor to see you. What brings you here? The owner greeted with a respectful bow. Please Tucci, there is no need for formalities. And I am here to treat little Naruto with some of your delicious ramen, Hiruzen spoke as he happily introduces Naruto to the owner now known as Tucci, and his daughter. Naruto was slightly afraid of strangers, especially adults, since he never really had a pleasant experience with any of them growing up. He then shyly and fearfully hides behind Hiruzen's robe after the introduction. Hiruzen and Tucci noticed the fear and nervousness coming from Naruto, and could not help but feel bad for the boy. Tucci is fully aware of Naruto's burden, just like every other adult in the village. But unlike most, he could tell the difference between a prison and a prisoner. He always felt bad for the boy, as he once saw him being thrown out of a store, for no good reason. Tucci tried to approach and help, but Naruto immediately ran off before he could. Seeing this as his second chance to finally help the little blonde, he decided not to waste it. Hello Naruto-kun, it is nice to meet you. My name is Tucci, and this my daughter, Ayam. Tucci kindly introduced himself and his daughter to the still nervous blonde boy. It is nice to meet you, Tucci-san, Naruto politely responded with a bit of stutter. Then he felt Hiruzen's hand landing softly on his head. There is no need to be nervous, Naruto-kun. Tucci here is an old friend. And he is one of the best people I know. Hiruzen tries to calm Naruto's nerves by assuring him that Tucci means him no harm. Hearing this from his Gigi calms Naruto a lot. He has complete trust in the old Hokage, and if he says that these people are okay, then he believes him. Naruto then realizes that the small environment does have a welcoming and safe atmosphere to it. Suddenly Tucci's daughter, now known as Ayam, walks up to Naruto and grabbed his hand. Come on Naruto, you must be hungry, and my dad makes the best food in the world, Ayam says with a smile that causes Naruto to blush from the sudden contact by the pretty girl. She brought him to one of the stools and went behind the counter to join her father in the kitchen. Ayam was a few years older than Naruto. She had long, dark brown hair and large black eyes, plus fair skin. She wears a white robe with the sleeves folded, a sort of dark blue apron with ribbon ties at the top and a bright white bandana. Hiruzen sat next to Naruto and recommended him to try the miso ramen. Naruto agrees and could not wait to taste the delicious-looking ramen for the first time. He could already tell from the godly aroma alone that the food was mouth-watering. 10 bowls later. God Gigi, that was the best meal I ever had. Thank you Tucci-san for the wonderful meal, Naruto says happily, with a full stomach and a bright smile. There is no need for formalities, Naruto-kun. Just call me Tucci or old man if you like. God knows I can't stop Ayam from calling me that. They all share a laugh after that comment, especially from Ayam. You are an old man, Dad. But I still love you anyway, hi. Ayam said with a giggle, then she turned her attention to Naruto. "So Naruto, how old are you anyway?" Ayam asked curiously. "I just turned 5 yesterday. So, I'm still growing. Which means I'm not really short, you know." Naruto responded, and was surprisingly defensive about his height, which causes Ayam to giggle more, as she also noticed it. "Well, happy late birthday Naruto, and don't worry, I know you will be the tallest man in the world when you grow up." She tried to tease him, but it backfired with Naruto's own response. "Thank you Ayam-chan, and I know you will be the most beautiful woman in the world when you grow up," Naruto said with a bright smile that could almost melt her heart. Ayam was taken back by the compliment, because no boy has ever straight up called her beautiful before. This causes her cheeks to blush red, and she immediately turns away from Naruto to hide them. Naruto was a child, so he was of course oblivious to her reaction. But Hiruzen and Teuchi both could tell that the boy is quite a charmer, and he didn't even know it. The sun was beginning to set, and after Hiruzen paid for their meals, Naruto said his goodbyes to both Teuchi and the still red-faced Ayam, and promised to come back soon, which no doubt he will, since ramen just became his new favorite food. Hokage Monument, 4th Hokage's head. Hiruzen brought Naruto to the Hokage monument afterwards. They are currently sitting on the 4th Hokage's head. They were both enjoying the peaceful silence of the view of the entire village, and the slow setting sun, until Naruto finally spoke up. "Wow Gigi, I never thought the village could be so beautiful. I can see why you always work so hard to protect this place. I just wished I could help you more, so you don't always have to be so tired all the time." Naruto says sincerely, which warms the old man's heart, for his kind concern. Seeing this as a perfect opportunity to teach Naruto a meaningful lesson, Hiruzen then tapped into his inner professor and spoke. "Konoha is not a place Naruto-kun, it's a people," Hiruzen spoke, getting the attention of the young boy as he continued. "It is the people in the village that makes this place worth protecting. That makes it a home. Without them, there is no village, and without a village there is no future. Is being a Hokage a tiring job? Yes. Is it easy? No. But it is worth the work and effort, to make sure that the future of the village is safe and secure. You are part of that future, my boy. And it is the role of old generation to make sure that the new will not only survive, but flourish." Hiruzen finished with warm smile. It was truly inspiring for Naruto to hear those words coming from the old man. He never thought of it that way before and was enlightened by his wisdom. At first Naruto wanted to be Hokage so he can be acknowledged by the people, but he realizes that those reasons were selfish and hollow. A Hokage is someone who puts the future of the village first before anything. You don't become the Hokage so you can be acknowledged, you become the Hokage because you are acknowledged. Naruto still wanted to become Hokage, but now, with a different point of view. A better one, he believes. "I understand Gigi, and you're right. Even though many of the villagers treated me harshly, I still won't give up. I still want to become Hokage. But thanks to you, I shouldn't become one, just be acknowledged by everyone. I don't need the acceptance of every single person, just a few would be enough. And they will help me become stronger, and I will protect them because they are precious to me. Because when you have something or someone worth fighting for, that is when you truly become strong. And right now, you are one of my precious people Gigi, just like Mother Nono, Old Man Teuchi and Ayam-chan. I will protect you all with my life, because I know you will do the same for me." Naruto finishes, but failed to notice the shocked look from Hiruzen's eyes, as he was blissfully looking at the sunset. "I can't believe what I am hearing from a 5-year-old. Naruto-kun shows a lot maturity for his age and yet he still holds true to who he is and his dreams. The will of fire burns brightly in you my boy. You remind me so much of your parents," Hiruzen thought with a smile. But the last part of his thoughts made him realize something. Maybe it's time. This is not the white-eyed boy I thought he was. He should know at least a little of who he is and where he comes from, before he somehow finds out from some other way. But there are so many secrets that I kept from this boy. Which one should I tell? Should I tell him about his parents? His burden? Or the fact that he is the grandson of Tobirama Senju? But to be fair, I just learned that last part. Maybe I should tell him about his burden first, since that is the most important information he needs to know now. I will tell his mother's name when he makes genin, and his father's name when he makes chunin. His grandfather, on the other hand, I might have to tell him sooner, since I need to train him if he does have his grandmother's Kekkei Genkai. Hiruzen finishes his train of thought, and prepares to tell Naruto the bitter truth. Naruto-kun, I need to tell you something. Something that is very important. This caught Naruto's attention right away, and gave the old man his full attention as he continues to speak. But first, let me ask you. What do you know about the nine-tailed demon fox that attacked the village 5 years ago? Hiruzen asked. I'm not sure, Gigi. This is not something I hear often. All I know is that it attacked the village in the dead of night, but was killed by the fourth Hokage. But by doing so, the fourth died too, Naruto answered sadly at the last sentence for some deep unknown reason. Hiruzen noticed this, and was little happy that Naruto had a small connection to his father, but dreaded his reaction once he finds out that his own father is the reason for all his suffering. Yes and no, Naruto-kun. The nine-tailed demon fox cannot be killed, because it is a massive natural force of sentient chakra. And before you ask, chakra is the energy that every living being possessed. With chakra, a shinobi is able to perform ninjutsu and genjutsu. In other words, chakra is pure energy, thus it cannot be destroyed, only sealed. Hiruzen finished with a bit of hesitation at the last part. Naruto doesn't like where this conversation is going, so he begrudgingly asks. What does all of that have to do with me? Hiruzen realized it is too late to back down now, and has to finish what he started. But he is still determined to do it slowly, so that Naruto won't be overwhelmed by the realization. Do you ever wonder why your birthday is on the same day the Ninetales attacked? Do you ever wonder why people could be so unfairly cruel to you, and call you names like demon? Naruto finished the sentence for him. Naruto had finally caught on what Hiruzen is trying to say. Tears were starting to fall from his violet eyes, as everything finally makes sense to him now. Gigi, am I the Ninetales? Naruto asked with great fear of himself in his voice. No, absolutely not. You are not the Ninetales, Naruto. You are its Jinchuriki, its jailer if you would want to call it that. You only contain the Ninetales within you, but you are still Naruto Uzumaki. Hiruzen finished, and was relieved that his words were able to calm the frightened boy a bit. But Naruto remained quiet for almost a minute, with so many questions in his head. Why are you telling me this now, Gigi? I mean, why me? Why did the fourth Hokage pick me? Was it because I was an orphan and nobody would care? Naruto sadly asked his grandfather figure with a hint of anger in his voice. Hiruzen wanted to jump at the chance of telling Naruto that the fourth was his father, and how could he ask another parent to sacrifice their child, if he couldn't sacrifice his own? So instead, Hiruzen told Naruto the second reason why. It is because he believed in you, Naruto-kun. He believes that you will be able to contain the Ninetales and eventually master its power. You may not see it now, but to him, you are his legacy. He never wanted you to be treated the way you are now. He wanted you to be treated as a hero, which you are, Naruto-kun, at least to me and most of the shinobi in the village. I made the law of forbidding anyone from telling you this, because I wanted you to have a normal childhood for as long as you can. But I was naive and a fool. You needed to know the truth. You deserve to know the truth. Because as much as I hate to admit it, Naruto-kun, your normal life ended the second you became the Jinchuriki of the Ninetales. Hiruzen finished. Naruto didn't know what to say. The fourth Hokage, the man who he idolizes, was the same man who caused his life to be filled with so much pain and loneliness. But the fact that the fourth Hokage believed in him, even before he could walk, made him feel happy in a way. To have somebody as great as Minato Namikaze to believe in his potential was a real confidence booster. He wanted to be mad at his Gigi as well, for not telling him the truth sooner, but he understood that his intentions were pure, and could tell that he was very sorry. So what happens now? Naruto asked his grandfather figure. Nothing has to change, Naruto-kun. The fact that you now know the truth about what you are, that doesn't have to change who you are, and where you stand. I am truly sorry, Naruto-kun. I would trade places with you if I could, just so I could spare you from any more pain and hardship, Hiruzen says with a hint of sadness. Why, if you do that, then I'll be the one who will get stuck with all that paperwork. It was a brief moment of silence, until they both broke down laughing at Naruto's tension-breaking joke. After they were done laughing, Naruto collected himself and looked at Hiruzen with calm eyes. He then placed his small hand on the old man's, as a comforting gesture that he forgives him. It's okay, Gigi, Naruto tells Hiruzen with a reassuring smile indicating that he is okay. Hiruzen could not help but return the boy's warm smile. It literally warms his heart every time he sees it. Well, if there is anything you need, Naruto, just ask me. It is the least I could do. Hiruzen tells him. Well, there are 3 things I was hoping you can help me with. First, can you help get me an apartment in the village? As much as I hate to leave Mother Nono, I feel like I'm too old to live in the orphanage now. And since now I know I'm the Ninetales Jinchuriki, there's no way in hell I'm going to be adopted by anyone, right? Naruto said that last part with a sad laugh. Second and third, can you train me to be a strong shinobi, and enroll me into the academy next year? He asked nervously, afraid that he is asking too much of his Gigi. You said that the 4th Hokage believed in me, so I want to make sure that his faith is not misplaced. I want to be a strong and capable shinobi, just like him and you. When that happens, I can finally protect everyone I care about, and one day take that hat away from you, so you could finally retire. And I don't go back on my word, that will be my ninja way, Naruto finished with a bright smile and determined eyes. Hiruzen could actually see the ghost of Minato after hearing Naruto's sincere words. Naruto is not even a shinobi yet, but the will of fire is strong in him. He had no doubt that his little grandson figure could actually keep his promises if he put his heart in it. I will be happy to train you, Naruto-kun, or at least find someone capable I trust who will, if I am not available. I was already planning to enroll you into the academy next year anyway, so that won't be an issue. Not unless you count those annoying parents who can't stop bitching about him, Hiruzen thought. And yes, I can help with your new home. There is a new apartment that just became available. It's not too big or too small, but it will be more than enough for you. But don't worry, I can handle all the finances until you become genin, where you can finally earn your own money. You can move into your new place tomorrow. Just come by my office first thing in the morning, where I will give you your apartment keys. Once you settled in, we will begin your training the next day. Hiruzen finished with a smile at the little blonde. Thank you, Gigi. I won't let you down, Naruto said with determination in his violet eyes. Konoha's orphanage, Naruto's room. It was the day that Naruto finally moves out of the orphanage. If you could ask him that if he was happy to move out 2 years ago, he would immediately say yes. But now it was a little hard for him, especially saying goodbye to all the people who had been kind to him. Some of the still hateful staff are ecstatic that the demon is moving out, but Naruto couldn't care less about them. Because there is only one person who he will miss the most there. Are you sure you want to go, Naruto-kun? Don't you think you are a little too young to live on your own? Came from the concerned voice of Mother Nono. Yes, Mother Nono. I mean, don't get me wrong, thanks to you, this place became my first home. But it is time for me to move on and be more independent. I have to eventually, since I'm going to become Hokage, right? And I promise, I would come to visit you anytime I can. Naruto finished with a sad smile, as he hated the thought of her believing that he is abandoning her. But, Sai, I suppose you have to move on eventually. I just didn't think it would be like this, Nono said sadly. But don't worry about me, you should focus on your training with Lord Third. I'm sure he will make a great ninja out of you, she said with a smile. Besides, I'm actually going out of the village for a while, myself. And I don't really know exactly when I will return. She told him with a worried tone. What? Why? Where will you go? He asked his motherly figure. I can't tell you. It's a confidential mission to the land of Earth from my old superior. But let's just say that if everything goes well, I will finally be able to find my long-lost son, Kabuto, she told him, which surprised Naruto. I didn't know you have son, Mother Nono. Naruto asked. Adopted son, but he was a special boy, just like you. The reason why he is not with us now, is because he went away with the people I used to work for to try to help the orphanage. He's a very good boy. I just hope he is safe and sound. She said with hope in her voice. Well, I wish you all the best, Mother Nono. I hope you find your son. Naruto wishes her with a hint of sadness and worry in his voice, that his motherly figure is going somewhere far away and possibly dangerous, just to find her long-lost son. Nono noticed the sad tone in his voice. It sounded like he was losing his mother. Feeling both warm and sad once she realized it, she immediately knelt down and embraced Naruto in a tight hug. You are my son, too, Naruto-kun. I love you so much, my sweet little boy. Nothing will ever change that. Nono says with a sweet, motherly tone. Naruto couldn't fight back the tears escaping through his eyes anymore, as he returns the tight hug, like she was his life raft. I love you too, Mum, he told her as he cries on her shoulder. This kind and wonderful woman had become a very important person to the young blonde. He loved her so much that he now saw her as his actual mom. The hug between the two went on for another few more minutes, but it felt like hours to them. They eventually broke the hug and Naruto was ready to go to his new home. As he was about to leave his room, he turns back to see her one last time. Please be safe, his tone sounded more like a beg than a request. I was going to say the same thing to you. Goodbye, Naruto-kun. Nono said with a sad smile. Naruto then leaves the orphanage and headed straight to the Hokage's office. After Naruto left, Nono saw his now empty room and couldn't help but cry because of the emptiness. Naruto is gone. Her sweet little boy is gone. She felt like she had to let go of a large piece of her heart. But she knows that Naruto will be just fine without her. She knows how strong he is. Because in the end, a true mother will always believe in her son. Hokage Tower, Hiruzen's office. Since it was still the beginning of the day, Hiruzen has not swamped himself with piles and piles of paperwork, yet. Instead he was just enjoying his downtime, by relaxing on his chair, with a warm cup of tea in his hand, while reading his favorite book Ika Ika Paradise written by his now favorite student. As he heard the soft knock coming from his door, he immediately hid the book away and set himself in a professional sighting position, as if to hide his guilty pleasure. The door opens, and his favorite little violet-eyed blonde walks into the room. He smiled at the boy as if seeing him has already brightened up his day. Ah, Naruto-kun, you arrive just in time. I assume you're here for the key to your new apartment, he asked. Yeah, Gigi, I can't wait to see my new place. Naruto answered happily. Hiruzen then reached for the drawer under his desk, and took out a pair of keys. Come Naruto-kun, let us be off, he told the young blonde, as he stood up from his chair and walked towards him. But Gigi, don't you have to do your paperwork? Naruto asked out of consideration, as in he didn't want to take any more of his Gigi's time. The paperwork will still be here when I get back. Besides, it's best if I show you where the place is, so you won't get lost. But don't worry, it won't take long. Hiruzen then placed his right hand on Naruto's shoulder and they both shunshin away to Naruto's new apartment building. Naruto's new apartment building. Wow! Can you teach me that, Jiji? Naruto asked his grandfather figure with stars in his eyes. All in good time, my boy, all in good time. So, this will be your new apartment building. He pointed to the building and Naruto's eyes were widened as he saw the newly built apartment complex. It had 7 floors and most of the residents they saw were ninjas. It wasn't far from the academy or the Hokage tower, which makes it even more perfect. Hiruzen led Naruto to the 7th floor, room 701. As he handed Naruto the keys, the blonde boy eagerly took it from his hand and slowly opened the front door. Naruto's eyes grew even more wider when he saw his new home. It was a 1-bedroom apartment that had 1 bathroom, a storage closet, a small kitchen/dining room, and a wide living room area. The place was already furnished, and since the building is still new, they were unused and untouched. The bedroom already has a queen-sized bed and a closet. The kitchen had a medium-sized fridge, a stove and a microwave. The dining room had a small dining table with 4 chairs. The living room has a 3-seater coach, 1 cushion chair, a coffee table in the middle, and a 30-inch screen television at the front. But the one that caught his attention the most was the balcony. It had a great view on the Hokage monument. Hiruzen could tell that Naruto absolutely loved his new home. "So what do you think of your new home, little Naruto?" Hiruzen asked. "It's great, Gigi. I love it. I don't know how to thank you," Naruto says with joy. "Hahaha, like I said before, Naruto-kun, it is the least I could do. I have already covered 1 year of your rent and utilities. And here." Hiruzen handed Naruto an envelope of money. "This should help you get your monthly groceries, new clothes and some extra pocket money. Don't worry about your ninja gear, as when your training starts tomorrow, I'll provide all the tools you need to begin your journey as a proper shinobi. But in the meantime, take these." Hiruzen pulled out 3 scrolls from his sleeve and handed them to Naruto. "These scrolls will help you learn the basics of chakra, tactics and taijutsu. Learn all you can from them, so you can be ready for tomorrow's training. Before I go, is there anything else I can do for you, Naruto-kun?" he asked the blonde boy who seemed to have some concern in his eyes. "Yeah, actually. Ever since you told me about my burden, I finally know why I have been kicked out of stores just for being there. I don't know any place that I could get my groceries or new clothes. Plus, even if they let me buy, they will just overcharge me," Naruto explained as he looked down the floor with sadness. Hiruzen honestly wanted to punish those ignorant people for doing this to a child. A part of him wanted to go up to the roof of the Hokage tower and just yell out, "If anyone dares to hurt or mistreat Naruto Uzumaki again, I will personally execute you along with your families." Hiruzen tried rid himself with those dark thoughts. He then tried come up with a solution for the little blonde. "I can recommend you to a couple of stores that wouldn't dare to turn you away or overcharge you. For reasons, well, let's just say they owe me." Hiruzen took out a pen and started writing down a list of stores on a piece of paper and handed it to Naruto. "If all fails, I can always teach you the transformation jutsu to hide your appearance. But only if that is okay with you?" Hiruzen asked, hoping he did not indirectly insult the boy just for being himself. "Hahaha, it's fine, Gigi. By being a ninja you have to be sneaky, right? So I'm practically training my skills and stealth. And I bet I can be the sneakiest ninja in the village." Naruto decided to see the bright side of his little predicament. And while it is discouraging that he needs to hide who he is, he understands his reality very well, and doesn't want to get kicked out of stores or be ripped off again. On the plus side, he gets to learn a jutsu from the old Hokage. Hiruzen was glad that Naruto was able to see a silver lining. But he still hates that he can't help him more, especially with something so small as this. Hiruzen then decided to make a mental note that when Naruto is proven that he is highly capable of protecting himself, or he is made chunin, he will gladly announce his lineage to the whole village. He would very much like to see the look on their faces as they realize they screwed with the son of 4th Hokage and the heir to the Senju clan. "Well, Naruto-kun, I have to go now. Please enjoy your new home. I will see you tomorrow morning," Hiruzen says before he shunshin back to his office. "I can't believe I have my own home now," Naruto joyfully says to no in particular. But the deathly silence of his new home reminded him of another sad truth about himself. And yet, I'm still all alone, he says sadly to himself while wearing a brave smile. He then went inside his bedroom and sat on the edge of the bed, as he was preparing to take a short nap. He then reaches into his backpack, and took out something very valuable to him. He then placed it on the nightstand, by the bed. It is the framed picture of him and Mother Nono, his most treasured gift. As Naruto looked at the picture of his dear mum, he realized that he is already missing her, and hoped that she will come back to the village soon. He then lays down on his bed and immediately fell asleep. But then, his mind drifted to a place where he had never been before. Naruto's mindscape. Naruto woke up feeling water all around his body, as if he was sleeping in a bathtub. He looked around to where he was, and realized that he was in some sort of dark sewer with many metal pipes on the ceiling. Naruto felt great dread coming from the bottom of his stomach, as the dark sewer continues to radiate its sinister atmosphere. Where am I? How did I get here? Naruto asked no one in particular, hoping to get some answers somehow. Surprisingly, someone, or something answered him. Come here, human, follow the sound of my voice, the deep dark growling voice, echoing through the sewers that send shivers down Naruto's spine. Who are you? Naruto fearfully calls out, but received no answers. Seeing as there is no other way out, he nervously walks through the sewer to follow the source of the unknown voice he heard. As he continues to walk, he finally reached a dead end. But instead of a giant wall, there was a giant cage with a large paper in between that has a kanji 4 seal on it. He tried to see through what's behind the cage, but he only saw darkness and large shadows. Suddenly, a large pair of vermilion red eyes with slitted pupils snapped open, looking fiercely at the little blonde. Then Naruto was able to see a large set of white teeth with sharp fangs appeared out of the darkness, as if the owner was smiling. Well. My jailer has finally come to grace me with his presence. But I must say, I did not expect to meet you this soon, the voice continued to growl out. Jailer? Wait, are you, the Kyuubi, Ninetales? Naruto carefully asked. The Kyuubi then walked closer to the cage, so that Naruto could fully see him in all his glory. Each step he took was like a small earthquake. Its red-orange fur, the massive Ninetales swinging behind him, its sharp claws that could pierce through metal like butter, its powerful eyes that could intimidate even the bravest man with just a look. What do you think, boy? He asked the blonde boy, if he is able to confirm that he is without a doubt standing before the most powerful tailed beast. Naruto managed to pull himself together and calm himself down to finally speak. Why am I here? How am I here? Did you bring me here? Naruto asked quickly, trying to get some answers from the giant fox entity. So many questions about here. And yet you failed to see the opportunity before you. Don't you have any other questions that actually matter? The giant fox said with a devious smile, expecting the boy to release all of his pent-up anger at him, so that he can manipulate him through his rage. He absolutely refuses to be a tool again, to another worthless disrespectful human. Oh yeah, what is your name? Naruto innocently asked with his bright smile. The Kyuubi's devious smile immediately faded, and was now in a state of shock and disbelief to hear what the little boy had just asked him. No human has ever asked him his name before. They just assume that he is a mindless monster, with no name or soul. They just see him as a weapon of mass destruction, nothing more, nothing less. But the Kyuubi will not let his guard down so easily, so he decided to test the little human. Why should I tell you my name? Why would it matter? You just want my power like every other human before you, the Kyuubi asked the blonde. Well, since I'm your Jinchao, Jinchaki, Jinchuriki. Yes, that's the word. I might as well get to know who you are, right? Gigi told me that you are a sentient chakra, which means that you can think and feel, just like me. So of course I want to know your name. And it matters, because you are amazing. I mean, of course, when I first saw you, you literally scared the living hell out of me. But then when you came closer to the cage, I was able to see how big and strong you are. You are almost as big as a mountain. And I don't care about power, I just want to be your friend. I mean, God knows I could use one, and judging from this very depressing sewer, I bet you could use one too." Naruto finished with another one of his signature bright smile. The Kyuubi was in a bigger disbelief than before. The boy's words were pure, and so is his heart. He didn't cower before him, yell at him out of anger, ignored him, or treated him like a monster. He showed admiration and respect, which is extremely rare for a bijou to find with their Jinchuriki, or any human whatsoever. The boy did not want his power, instead he just wanted his friendship. The boy passed his first test, but he needed to know more if he is able to trust the blonde human. "Kurama, my name is Kurama. What is yours, little human?" "Naruto, Naruto Uzumaki. It is very nice to finally meet you, Kurama. How old are you, Naruto?" "I just turned 5 years old a couple of days ago." "How old are you?" "I am around 1,000 years old. I can't really give you a specific number since I lost count." They both shared small laugh for his forgetfulness, but Naruto was amazed that he is actually talking to one of the eldest beings in the world. "That must be very tough for you, Kurama, to live alone for all those years. Do you have any family?" "I have 8 siblings. But I rarely see them anymore, as they are spread across the nations. And probably sharing the same fate as I am with you." "Same fate? You mean, there are others, like me and you?" "Yes, Naruto, you are not the only Jinchuriki, as I am not the only bijou in the world." That's great, right? That means you and I have family. A family of bijous and Jinchurikis. I admire your spirit, boy. But we are not family. I am a prisoner and you are my prison. And I'm sure my siblings share the same view as I do. But I guess you're right. You can't lock someone up and expect them to be your family. I'm sorry, Kurama. I can't believe you are apologizing to me. I thought you expect me to do it, for everything you had to go through. Well, I can't say you attacking the village 5 years ago was forgivable, but no one deserves to be treated like a slave and be imprisoned for all eternity. It wasn't my fault." "What?" "The attack on your village 5 years ago, that wasn't my fault. It was that blasted Sharingan that compelled me to do so." "Wait, the Sharingan? Isn't that the Uchiha clan's eye powers? The correct term is Kekkei Genkai. And yes, Naruto. But there is only one Uchiha that was able to control me, Madara Uchiha." "Madara? Isn't he one of the founders of Konoha?" "But that's impossible. He had to be like 100 years old. There are many ways for a human to prolong their lives, some methods are considered to be unnatural. But knowing that damn Madara, he will no doubt cross any line to survive." "But, why? Why you? And why me? How am I part of this story?" "Because, your parents were the ones that were in his way." "My parents? You know my parents? Your mother was my previous Jinchuriki. Her name was Kushina Uzumaki." "Kushina, my mother was the Jinchuriki before me?" "Then, who is my father?" "Your father was the same man who imprisoned me and you. The 4th Hokage, Minato Namikaze." I don't believe this. I always thought that my parents died when you attacked. I just didn't realize they were in the center of it." "So did Madara killed my parents?" "No, Naruto, I killed your parents." You? Do you hate me, boy? Do you still want to be my friend? Can you live with the fact that the one who made you an orphan is sitting in your stomach, and there is nothing you can do about it?" "Why? Why what? Why did you kill them?" I thought Madara is your enemy." "He is my enemy. He will always be my enemy. I have been a prisoner for many decades. I was momentarily freed, only to be enslaved. You parents were planning to re-seal me into you, so I needed to stop it, by killing you. Instead, your parents shielded you from me. They sacrificed their lives to protect you. What did you have to say now, boy? Say something. What do you want me to say, Kurama? That I am mad at you? That I want revenge on you and Madara for taking everything from me? What would that get me? What will that achieve? Will I be a better person afterwards? No. Because pain will just create more pain. That's the reality. I will be just another addition to the endless cycle of pain, hatred, and revenge. It is a curse that can never end, because we cannot let go of our past. Because we are broken, crippled, and scarred by them. But, if I truly want to break this curse, I need to embrace the future. I will never give up. Not on myself, not on my parents' sacrifice, not on my precious people, not on my dreams, and not even you. If it wasn't for Madara, you would not have attacked the village and killed my parents. So I can't blame everything on you. I may be a child, Kurama, but don't underestimate me. I don't quit and I don't back down, that is my ninja way. You are truly unique, Naruto Uzumaki. No human has ever impressed me this much, let alone pass my test. Test? Yes, I wanted to see if you're just another human, who lets their soul turn dark and ugly when they suffer great loss. Not only you overcame your darkness, but you remain true to the light. So I will ask again. After everything, would you still like to be my friend? Yes, Kurama, I still would like to be your friend. I know I will be a good friend to you. Then, I will be your friend as well, Naruto. I will grant you free access to my chakra. But I will limit the amount since your body is still too young to control my full power. But it will eventually increase to the maximum as you age and grow stronger. Thank you, Kurama. I promise I will not misuse your power. I'm so sorry, Naruto. For everything. I forgive you, Kurama. Let us put the past behind us, and together, you and me will build a better future. For humans and Bijus. Naruto's apartment, his bedroom. As Naruto opens his eyes, he realizes it was already nighttime. He had been sleeping all day, but it only felt like a half an hour in his mind. Time moves differently between the real world and your mind. Kurama? Is that you? Naruto asked out loud, hoping he wasn't going crazy. Yes, boy, and don't talk to me out loud. Other humans will think you're Ainsani. Just speak in your mind and I can hear you. Like this? Yes. Right, thanks. I need to tell Gigi about all of this. He needs to know about Madara if he is still out there. Then I suggest you do it tomorrow, when you see the old man for your training. Go get some sleep. Good idea. Good night, Kurama. Good night, Naruto. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you enjoyed this what if and want to see next part of it, comment down below and let me know. Also share this video with your friends. See you in the next video. Peace.